You ever work a dead-end job just long enough to see how weird people really are? That was me. 19 years old, graveyard shift at a Taco Bell in a shopping plaza that stayed open way too late. I was broke. It paid minimum wage. But I got free crunch wraps and never saw a manager after 10 p.m., so I stayed. Name's Jordan, by the way. And I'm telling you this because some nights when I hear soft thuds outside my window, I still wonder if it followed me home. It was a Thursday night in mid-December, the kind of cold where your breath feels like ice in your lungs. I had just clocked in at 11:30. My manager, Carlos, was supposed to stay until midnight, but he left early like usual. Tossed me the keys, locked the doors behind me, and disappeared. "You good?" he asked. I nodded. Then the doors clicked shut. That's when I realized he left without setting the exit code for the back. I was sealed in. No big deal, right? I'd done solo shifts before. It was just me, the friar, and whatever sad dude showed up at 2 a.m., drunk out of his mind, asking for 40 tacos. I cleaned, restocked, played music through my phone. Normal night. Until 2:08 a.m. The door buzzer went off, which made 0 sense. The lobby was locked. No one had pressed the intercom. I checked the camera. Nothing. Just the empty lot outside. Wind blowing wrappers across the concrete. Then it buzzed again. I went to the door and looked through the glass. There was a man standing with his back to me. Gray hoodie, soaked jeans, barefoot. He wasn't moving. I knocked on the glass. "We're closed." He didn't flinch. Didn't even breathe. I watched him for a full 30 seconds. No shift, no twitch, nothing. Like he was frozen. Then the buzzer rang again. But I was still at the door. My hand wasn't anywhere near it. That's when I backed up. Went around to the back office and locked myself in. I sat there for a while trying to convince myself it was a glitch. Maybe a guy high out of his mind, staring off into nothing. Then I heard it. Not a knock, not a bang, a tap on the inside of the glass. I pulled up the feed. He was gone. But on the floor, near the front counter, something was dripping, like someone had spilled a milkshake. Only it was red. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed my phone, no signal. I tried the back door, still locked. I remembered Carlos had left the override key in the drawer. I pulled it out and headed back to the front. But the man was inside, sitting at a table like he belonged there, hands folded, staring at the counter. There were footprints on the floor, wet, bare footprints, coming from the freezer. I screamed, ran to the bathroom, locked myself in a stall. My heart wouldn't stop pounding. Every time I blinked, I saw his face, expressionless, too pale, like he wasn't used to being looked at under real light. Minutes passed, then hours. By the time the morning shift arrived at 6, I was still in that stall. I heard them unlock the doors, heard one of them yell when they saw the mess. When I finally came out, the lobby was spotless. No red on the floor, no footprints, no man. But on the table where he sat, there was a single item, a folded receipt. Time-stamped 2:08 a.m., but no item list. Just a message scribbled on the back, "You let me in." Carlos never showed up again. They said he quit. But I think he just unlocked the wrong door one night, and something walked through. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I've worked at Taco Bell for over 3 years now. I've seen some weird things. Late nights, drunk customers, angry drive-through orders, and more bathroom disasters than I care to count. But nothing, and I mean nothing, ever freaked me out like what happened with Alex. Alex was a newer employee, maybe 18, skinny kid with messy hair and a tired look about him. He started working night shifts when our usual crew got too burnt out. I didn't think much of him at first. You know how it is. New faces come and go in fast food, and most of them don't stick around long. But Alex was different. He was always there, always on time, always doing his job. No complaints. He worked hard, got his tasks done, and didn't ask for much. One night, I came in for a late shift around 11 p.m. It was just me, Alex, and Carla in the kitchen. We were doing the usual routine, prepping for the late-night crowd, cleaning up the counter, and getting ready to close. Carla was on the register, and I was fixing some of the fryer equipment. I remember glancing over at Alex at one point. He was just standing by the back door, staring outside. The restaurant was pretty empty. It was a slow night, but something about the way he was standing, just staring out that window into the dark parking lot, made me uneasy. "Alex, you good?" I called over. He turned to look at me, blinking like he was waking up from a trance. Yeah, just tired, man. Been up for a while." I shrugged it off. The kid was probably just zoning out, right? It was a quiet night. But as the night went on, I noticed more weird things. First, it was the way Alex kept glancing at the clock. Every few minutes, he'd look up at the time, check his phone, and then look outside again, like he was waiting for something or someone. At one point, I asked him if he needed a break, but he declined, saying he was fine. I told Carla about it, and she just laughed, saying, "Maybe he's just trying to avoid doing dishes." We all chuckled, but something still felt off. Then it happened. Around 3:30 a.m., the buzzer rang. The door to the lobby swung open, and in walked a man I'd never seen before. He was tall, scruffy, wearing a baseball cap pulled low over his eyes. He had a strange, nervous energy about him, like he was trying to blend in but couldn't quite hide his anxiety. He walked straight up to the counter, ordered nothing, and just stood there, staring at Alex. I noticed Alex's eyes widen as the man approached, and his body tensed up. He looked scared. He didn't even move. The man just stared at him for a good minute before saying, "I've been waiting for you." The air in the kitchen grew thick. I felt it too, that uneasy, suffocating feeling. My stomach dropped. The man turned around, walked out without a word, and vanished into the dark night. Alex stood frozen for a long time, not saying a word. I could see his hands trembling. I asked if he was okay, but he didn't answer. He just walked to the back and locked himself in the bathroom. That's when I knew something was wrong. When Alex came out, he didn't look the same. His face was pale. His hands were shaking. He didn't say a word to either of us the rest of the night. He barely spoke when we clocked out. The next day, Alex didn't show up for his shift. Carla tried calling him, but there was no answer. I texted him. Nothing. For the next few days, we tried reaching out to him, but it was like he'd vanished off the face of the earth. No one at his apartment had seen him. His social media was gone, completely wiped clean. No one knew where he went. And then things started to get weirder. I went in for my shift the following week, and I noticed something strange in the back office. It was a receipt from the night Alex had disappeared. The order was from that same man, the one who had walked in at 3:30 a.m. The receipt had Alex's name on it. But here's the thing. Alex hadn't even been at the register. He'd been in the back with me. No one took the order. The receipt was dated for the same night Alex vanished. I never heard from him again. I don't know what happened that night. Maybe Alex just snapped, or maybe something followed him from that Taco Bell, and it's still waiting. You ever get that weird gut feeling? The one that kicks in when nothing is technically wrong, but your whole body just says, leave? This was 3 years ago. I'd just gotten off work at a late shift bookstore downtown, one of those dying chains with more spiders than customers. It was nearly 11 p.m. and I hadn't eaten all day, so I hit the Taco Bell 2 blocks from my apartment. Rain had just stopped. The streets were slick. Everything smelled like wet concrete and fast food grease. Inside, it was the usual late-night crowd. 2 guys in hoodies laughing over a broken touchscreen, a girl behind the counter looking dead inside, and a man, middle-aged, sitting alone in the far corner booth, hands folded neatly, not eating, not drinking. He wasn't looking at me, not at first. Just staring through the front window into the parking lot like he was waiting for someone, or something. I placed my order, took a booth by the window near the exit, unwrapped my food, bit into a soggy burrito. That's when I noticed the man again. Now he was looking at me, direct, unblinking, expressionless. I gave one of those awkward half smiles, nothing back, no blink, just watching. I told myself, people are weird, maybe he's homeless, maybe he's just zoning out. I finished fast, wiped my hands, glanced back. He was gone, no door had opened, no footsteps. Just an empty booth and a wet napkin still crumpled where his hands had been. That should have been my first warning. I got up and walked out into the parking lot. The pavement was glowing from the orange streetlight reflections, still, oddly quiet. My apartment was 2 blocks away, and I'd always cut through the alley behind the liquor store to get there. Halfway across the lot, I heard a car door slam behind me. I turned. A sedan, rusted blue, parked facing the restaurant. Engine off, but I hadn't heard it drive up. Then I saw him, same man, sitting in the driver's seat, still, watching. Only this time he was smiling, a slow, wide, unsettling grin. I quickened my pace, didn't run, didn't want to show fear. But I cut across the lot and went straight for the alley. It was darker than usual. One of the bulbs overhead had blown out. My footsteps echoed off the brick walls. I kept checking behind me. No one there, until the second echoes started. 2 sets of steps. I stopped. It stopped, turned around, nothing. Walked again. It followed. Then I saw it. Something moved just behind the dumpster. A shadow, tall, sharp, then gone again. That's when I heard the whisper, right behind me. 3 words, breathy, deliberate. You dropped something. I spun around. No one. Just an empty alley and a slight breeze that carried the wet smell of tobacco and old oil. When I got to my apartment door, I didn't turn the lights on. I locked it, bolted it, sat on the floor and listened. Nothing. Until around 2:30 a.m. I heard tapping. Not knocking. Tapping, like fingernails against glass. I live on the 3rd floor. I didn't check. I just sat there until dawn. Next morning, I looked out the window. There was something written in the condensation on the glass. A message smeared in 3 crooked lines. You dropped something. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, share, and subscribe.